So then today I watched two games. This is going to be a match review of both the games. Obviously, the first one, the big game in Italy, Juventus versus Inter, the derby. What a game that was. Obviously, next one, Madrid and Real Madrid. We'll get to that at the end. So let's talk about the Italy game first. What a game. What a game. I mean, great. So entertaining. I was coming into that and I was like, there's been people around in the internet tell me how Juventus have been playing good. Inter, as usual, they're very good in Serie-A. So I thought I was coming to it looking at it as an entertaining game, and you know what? It delivered. Obviously, the most controversial part of the game, the red card to Kalulu. It was a second yellow red card. For me, too soft. That was so soft. I think the referee in general today in that game was just very bad. I think he was giving soft fouls as yellow cards, and you could see that the managers kind of understood that Kivu took off Bastoni, he took off Barella because of the yellow cards, because he could understand that the referee he's giving too many cards out, and even a soft foul could turn out to be a second yellow and red. So the managers were obviously very careful. Uh, but yeah, for me, a soft foul. I think the game was very good till then. It was end to end. It was the teams were very defensive. The teams were defensively decent. I think they're bad at taking crosses and defending crosses, but I think it was a very good game until that red card, obviously. But then obviously still Juventus, very good performance. Even with 10 man, they were very good in the second half, according to me. But obviously the first goal comes in uh, from Luis Enrique trying to cross the ball, but it hits Cambiasso, goes in, on goal. Very sad for him. He's obviously had a kind of a tough time in this area this season, but in the other end, just about I think 10 minutes later or 5 minutes later, comes in clutch. Great ball in. I think it was Luis Enrique again who slept at the back post. He didn't realize Cambiasso was right behind him. Cambiasso comes in front of him and smashed it. I mean, he didn't smash it, he just tapped it in into the goal. Easy finish, great goal, gets his team back level, makes up for his mistake, you could say. And then we go on to the obviously then the red card happened. The second after that, I felt like Inter had quite a few chances. I think Juventus had quite a few chances that should have been finished. I felt like sometimes Inter were a little too you say Luke too conservative in terms of they should have just shot. There's a lot of chances, but I felt like some players should have shot. I think Lautaro Martinez had a great chance inside the box, which was great. It was like very good play from Inter to create the chance, but obviously he couldn't finish it off. They overall great performance in the first half from Inter and Juventus, but red card. Then we go to the second half, and I think Juventus played a very good game in the second half, even with a red card, even with 1 man down. I think they were brilliant. I think they had their chances. I feel like they were defending well. They were giving the game to Inter. They were making it easy for Inter. I felt like the pressing was very good. The defending, the tracking back from likes of Udis and Locatelli, Cambiasso, those guys very good. But obviously Esposito grabs the second goal for Inter. I think it was in the 76th minute. Great goal from Esposito. Um, gets the goal and it felt like this was it. This was it for Inter. It felt like, all right, now they're not probably going to. Juventus are probably not going to recover. Inter's going to win the game. Obviously, Juventus 10 man on 10 man. Inter's probably just going to defend and make this as hard as possible for Juventus. But then Locatelli, the man, the captain, dropping a great goal for Juventus, bringing the match back. Obviously, the stadium, the away fans went crazy. Juventus players went crazy. They thought this was it. This was it because I think he scored in the 80th something minute, and they were like, "All right, now we can see the game out. We'll take a draw, 10 man down, draw at Inter Milan at San Siro. Great result." And yeah, the Juventus felt good for that. Obviously, they made some substitutions. I think they made some defensive substitutions, and they're like, "All right, let's get the win here today. We can get the win." But Zelensky and Inter had other plans. Smashed one outside the box, bomb corner. What a great strike! Di Gregorio just left standing. Felt like Di Gregorio is so good today. He saved some great shots from the likes of Bisek. I think Barella had one. Shalanoglu had a dipper in the end. There was some great goalkeeping from Di Gregorio to keep Inter out. Inter were making so many chances, but the ball just didn't go in the net. And then finally, Zelensky managed to bang it in. I felt like Zelensky had a great game today. I felt like Lautaro and Thuram, I felt like were very quiet today in terms of there's so many chances that you expect them to finish, but they weren't finished, which was very sad. I think Lautaro, again, I think his form has been not that good this season. I think Kenan Udi's had quite a quiet game today for his standards. I think he's one of the best players in Serie-A, and he's one of the best young players in the world. But he had a quiet game. Obviously, I felt like it was because of the red card, and it felt like he had to track back a lot, and he kind of just lost stamina, and obviously had to be substituted in in the 80th minute or something like that. I felt like Zelensky, obviously, we talked about him. Great game. I think Barella was very quiet today. Shalanoglu came on for him. I think Shalanoglu was very pivotal. I think he had some great shots in. He had some great passes in. I feel like he was kind of the game changer for Inter in terms of opening up Juventus in that 10-man Juventus. He had a great shot, which was, again, saved by Di Gregorio. As for Juventus, I felt like Cambiasso was decent today terms of obviously he scored an own goal, but I think he was pretty good for Juventus today. Di Gregorio was very good for Juventus. I think some of the saves he made kept them in it, especially the crosses. Also, is it just me or is it that Inter and Juventus both? I felt like in terms of defending crosses and corners stuff like that, they seem they seem very bad. They don't seem that good. I feel like kind of like Barcelona too, but yeah, don't really seem that good in terms of defending crosses, which I think they need to fix. Maybe Bastoni had stayed on, maybe they would have been better. But again, I felt like they weren't the best at defending those crosses. And Locatelli was, I think he was all right for Juventus today. But yeah, that's overall what the Inter and Juventus game held. I felt like the referee just too soft. I mean, when you think about Serie A, when you think about prime Serie A, you think about these crazy tackles, you think about rash play, you think about that kind of grit, that manliness in these games, and I felt like that was really missing. Because of I feel like this. I don't know if this is kind of a reoccurring thing in Serie A, because I don't really watch it that much. I mean, I only tune into the big games, so I don't know if it's a reoccurring thing. But I felt like the challenges, the fouls they're given, but they're so soft. I mean, some of the yellow cards they're given, them obviously the second yellow we talked about already, but even some of the other ones too, Barella, and then some other fouls, they just seem very soft. And then fouls that seemed like, oh, they were fouls were not even given, especially for Juventus, the penalty call. Then there was the one at the end, at the edge of the box, which wasn't given. So I felt like the referee. I mean, we all know Serie A referees have. Serie A referees have always been kind of iffy in terms of their refereeing decisions. But yeah, this game I felt like it was very bad. It was very biased towards Juventus, ironically. But then we come back. We come to the Real Madrid and Real Sociedad game. I had that in the background really today. I was mainly focused on the Juventus Inter game. I think Real Madrid, Sociedad, I was like, I think Real Madrid, I felt like Sociedad could get a draw here today because there's no Mbappe, obviously, Bellingham still. There's a lot of missing pieces, but Trent came back. And wow, with Trent, this team definitely looks different. Obviously, I want to see him go up against the bigger teams and then in the cup competition, the Champions League, obviously. But it felt good because I felt like there's a lot of times where Sociedad were pressing Real Madrid, but Trent was just able to switch a quick cross to the likes of midfielder like Tchouameni or Valverde, or just switch it to Vinny or Carreras, which obviously felt like what Real Madrid really needs right now. Obviously, we want to see this when we come to the elite teams that press in every kind of aspect of the game, really be able to do that. But I felt obviously the cross in to Gonzalo Garcia to score the goal was very good. I think that was something that Real Madrid have been missing in terms of that creative outlet that can just whip across, whip a pass out of nowhere, and create that kind of X factor in the game and find these attackers in the likes of Vinicius Junior, the likes of Gonzalo Garcia, even Mbappe. Obviously, didn't play today, but these kind of attackers, and Trent is definitely the man to do it if he stays fit. And we really saw how good he is today. Even the second goal, I think the second goal was a penalty from Vinicius. I felt like in the second goal, Trent was quite useful in terms of the crossing again. And yeah, even in defensively, I felt like obviously he's not known to be a great defender, but when Real Sociedad were pressing him, some of the passes he was pulling off, I felt like other Real Madrid right backs or other Real Madrid players come under pressure and they're not able to play that pass. I think this really could add another level to Real Madrid that they have been looking for throughout the year. And maybe Trent could, and I feel like every game that Trent's played this season has been good. I mean, Real Madrid have played good in that game. So maybe Trent could be kind of the savior for Real Madrid this season, as long as he stays fit. But I think overall, just a decent game for Real Madrid. Vinicius Junior, I think, was very good today, doing his trickery, obviously using his quick step play style that he has. I don't think he has that, to be fair, in FIFA. But yeah, he's just so quick, and the fullback just couldn't handle him. Was going in for rash challenges, and obviously gave away 2 penalties. The fullback couldn't really handle Winnie today. Winnie's obviously that kind of player that when he's on it, he's just so tricky and so fast that if you make one wrong move, he's gonna go down and get that penalty. And you really have to be vigilant in inside the box, not to stick your leg out, because he's looking to go down. And obviously gets 2 penalties, puts them away. Great penalties again. Does the dance. Almost got a hat trick. Was called offside. Great ball from Arda Güler, but it was called offside. Valverde today, great goal. Find that space inside. I think Valverde, obviously, when he plays midfield, it's been a while since he's played there. But it was very good. I saw Real Madrid and Arbeloa, they kind of set him up, but Valverde was covering for Trent when Trent was going into attack, trying to get passes in, trying to be creative. Valverde kind of came back, trying to cover for Trent, and when he's not, then Valverde's up ahead on the pitch. And you can do that with a player like Valverde. He's a proper workhorse. And a great goal today for him, edge of the box, takes it back, top corner, the Valverde-esque finish that everyone really looks for. I think his first goal in La Liga. But yeah, overall, I think the Real Madrid game was pretty good, and Real Sociedad really didn't play that good. They didn't really threaten too much, except that penalty that Hoyson gave away. I think overall, Real Madrid were quite solid today. And I think, I mean, obviously the man of the match was given to Vinicius Junior, but I would have personally liked to see. I think Trent was a contender for it as well today. Looked very good on the pitch today. But yeah, that's about it. That's the review. Hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that stuff. And yes, catch you guys in the next review, probably tomorrow or at the Barca game. Ciao.